This podcast is brought to you by DirecTV Stream. Does this sound familiar? You got one device lets you catch the game live, another lets you stream your favorite shows, you're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friend's login for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all the entertainment you love without the hassle. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings you your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part? There's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package.
What's up? Welcome in. Hoge Jahns with you. I'm back home from the Super Bowl. Fun week. Good time in LA.
Tired?
I am. I'm ready for a vacation. And that vacation is coming.
Yeah.
It's going to be kind of a short one because, you know, the whole kids thing. And
well, it's not. Sometimes it's not really a vacation when the kids are there.
right. And they're not going to be there. That's the key. So we're just doing a little quick.
A little week time,
if they're not with you, you got to shorten the vacation a little bit.
Well, the sleep gets adjusted.
Can't just leave the kids with the grandparents for like 3 weeks.
You can, but
yeah,
somewhat frowned upon.
Not with the baby. Maybe in a couple of years. Anyway, back from the Super Bowl. Got a lot to talk about. We're going to kind of recap what we saw, you know, tie in some Bears stuff and wrap it all up. But yeah, it was a good time down there in Los Angeles. I think they put on a good show. The game was awesome. I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the halftime show. And we're going to talk about it all. Follow us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Adam Jahns. And you can read me at NBCSportsChicago.com. I do have a piece up on Justin Fields. It's something I talked about last week on the pod, was just how so many people were saying good things about Justin Fields. Like, and they didn't have to. They just, that seemed to be the prevailing thought. Like a lot of optimism still, despite what we have both been very critical of, a choppy, bumpy, kind of a waste of a rookie season, quite frankly. But there's still a lot of optimism around the league. So I kind of summarized everyone I talked to, Johns, and put it in a piece for everyone to read. So you can check that out on NBCSportsChicago.com.
Was it Dick Butkus who completely lit Matt Nagy's career on fire?
Oh, Dick Butkus, just short of literally having a flamethrower in his hand, just torched everybody. He said he said he had an inside source, a buddy of his who worked for another team that
I like that too.
That said that this was not Dick. This was the guy he talked to from another team said that Justin Fields literally was not coached the entire season. Which of course is hyperbole, but he gets the point across.
Yeah. You know, like when we were talking about that and I read your stuff and I just pictured, you know, those classic films of Dick Butkus.
Yeah.
But this time it's like Matt Nagy at quarterback with the clothesline tackles.
And Dick just taking them out. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
He said George Halas would have rolled over in his grave watching that season. And he just was generally just, you could tell the pain he was still feeling. I love that. He's got the passion, you know.
He's a Chicagoan, South Side guy, vocational high school.
Unlike Jim McMahon, who I asked, you know, do you still keep up with what's going on with the Bears? He says, no, I don't watch football. Like, okay.
He was just there to golf with no shoes on.
It was good to talk to Jim McMahon. But yeah, that was trying to get any thoughts on Justin Fields out of him was a little bit of a chore. And then he did he was plugging the John Kostakos NFT collection. Remember that? I should actually, if you can give me 1 second, I could show it to our viewers on YouTube what he's
selling.
No,
pitching?
I think people will recognize this if I can find it. Yeah, it's right here. So if you're watching on YouTube, the old Mad Mac poster. So this was made back when the Bears, and I apologize to people just listening to the podcast, you can't see this, but you probably know what I'm talking about. It says the Grid Warrior, and he's like,
he's got that Mel Gibson Road Warrior look.
Yeah, he just looks like a superhero in this thing. And it's the John Kostakos collection. I mean, this was made back in the 80s. And that's what, but now they're getting into NFTs, right? So that's what he was plugging. And, but I just loved it. He goes, yeah, and then, I'm here pumping up the John Kostakos NFTs, you know, whatever those are. Just like, I love you, Jim McMahon. You're the
vintage,
best.
Yeah.
You're the best. He had the shades on.
Always true to himself.
I almost put my shades on for the interview.
You should have.
I should have.
The last time, like, McMahon was in town for the Bears 100 and Trubisky's out there with the shades and the headband.
Yeah.
Like, man, what a high time in the Bears organization that completely faded.
The Super Bowl celebration of the Super Bowl that never happened.
Yeah.
That nobody predicted. I mean, it's not like anybody here on this podcast bought into that whole idea.
13-3.
Whoops. All right. Well, yeah, there's plenty of content you can go back and find. NBCSportsChicago.com. A lot of video, all kinds of things. So we appreciate everybody that was following along. And Johnsy, The Athletic, had plenty of content there too. theathletic.com/Hoge Jahns, where you go to subscribe if you're not already. Good crew down there from The Athletic. Had some fun catching up with some of those folks. And, there's plenty of Super Bowl content you can find, including from people who covered the game. Unlike me, I came home on Friday. I enjoyed the game from my couch. Actually, I did. That's a lie. I was not on my couch. I was at a neighbor's house.
Good.
Eating some really good food.
Drinking a few cocktails?
I had a couple beers, yeah.
Good.
I had a host on the score, though, Monday morning.
You did. I heard that.
Which was a bold decision by myself after a long week, but that's why I need a vacation. We're still here, though, to talk about this stuff. What was your biggest takeaway from the Super Bowl?
Joe Burrow needs help up front, and good for Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
I still don't think the Hall of Fame was thrown around a lot.
I have strong feelings on that.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
No, either do I.
No, I mean, a lot of people will throw out his passing numbers, but he's been a volume thrower his entire career. Like, he's a guy that even when the Lions were bad, he was towards the top of the NFL in passing yards, and he was like the fastest quarterback to get to this number, and then the fastest quarterback to get to this number, just in terms of passing yards. He has a lot of those records, but that's because he was a volume thrower. To me, stats obviously matter when it comes to the Hall of Fame, but it's the full resume. And when you've never been an All-Pro, I'm not even talking about MVP. You've never been an All-Pro. You've made one Pro Bowl. And I don't necessarily love throwing out Pro Bowls, but I think over the course of, a long career like Matthew Stafford, if anything, Pro Bowls tend to be inflated because, like, Mitch Trubisky made a Pro Bowl. You know what I mean?
Has Matthew Stafford not been the one?
So he's only been to one?
Did he get it this year? Did he get it? He got it this year, right?
Did he? I don't know.
I'll check. You talk.
I would lie if I said I watched the Pro Bowl. I was flying to LA during the Pro Bowl. The point being, like, has he ever been the best quarterback in any given year?
No. He was selected to a Pro Bowl in 2014, the year the Lions went 11-5. And that year, he had only 22 touchdown passes.
Yeah, look, he's actually, Hub Arcus said this the other day on the score when he was on with us. He said he's in the Hall of Very Good. It's a good way to put it. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. Just because you win a ring doesn't automatically put you in. I think it helps, but he's a very good quarterback. And I echo your sentiment, Johns. Good for him. I felt that way about a lot of the Rams players. I think the Bengals were kind of the underdog pick, the sentimental favorite. To me, it was the Rams. Like, if I was sitting there and I was detached from the game, I didn't have to write about it or anything, so I was allowed to kind of sit there and say, all right, which team do I want to win? There's a lot of players on that Rams team that I felt good about the fact that they got a ring. Matthew Stafford being one of them. Aaron Donald definitely being one of them. Aaron Donald didn't need a ring to go to the Hall of Fame by any means. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer no matter what. But he kind of would have been like the defensive version of Dan Marino had he not gotten that ring.
I like that analogy.
And now he's got the ring. So I feel great for him and how badly he wanted. If you've been following the NFL films and him being mic'd up during the playoffs, like, you could just tell how bad he wanted it. So for him to make that play at the end, that was just a cool ending to me. Who else? I know I'm forgetting another one on that rant. Oh, Andrew Whitworth. Andrew, what a weekend for him. He wins the NFL Man of the Year award. Great speech. Bringing in Derek Barnes from the Lions and telling that story about how, he helped Barnes when Barnes was a kid. That's how long Whitworth's been in the league. And then Barnes came up to him when the Lions played the Rams this year after the game and just said, "Hey, Big Whit, I made it." That's a cool story. Then he gets his ring. He can ride off in the sunset and retire now. Even Von Miller, who already has a ring, but good for him. And even OBJ,
who seemingly got dragged through the mud every single week for some very bad reasons, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I told you the whole. I don't know everything that happened in Cleveland.
No.
But it does stand out to me that not only his teammates, but a lot of random players around the league come to his defense. And then for him to tear his ACL in the game, which is terrible, that almost cost him the game, by the way. I actually think if Beckham did not get hurt.
Oh, the Rams blow him out?
I don't know if it's a blowout, but I think they're in control the whole way. I don't think they're trailing late and need that drive.
Yeah. I think it changed a few things offensively for them, where a lot of calls on Sean McVay's. Did you see Sean McVay's play sheet? Those are handwritten notes, by the way. It's very small writing.
Well, he's a small guy.
I know he's a small guy. Like Nagy's had this huge BU sheet with everything's printed out. I'm like, look at that. Those are handwritten notes on the back sheet, on the back side of Sean McVay's play sheet.
Someone tweeted out too that he crosses out plays. I don't know what that's. Everyone's got their own way. It's organization is what it is, and everybody's got their way of. As long as what's in front of you on that call sheet is organized and it works for you, I'm not going to get into what works for different people.
No, it's just an observation.
I changed my even special teams. I have a call sheet myself with some things on it, and I probably changed that 3 or 4 times throughout the season because I'm like, this is working, this is not working. And it probably is the same way even at that level.
I got a question for you. So now as we move into the offseason, the player acquisition period, as GMs and scouts call it, is just weeks away. Free agency is fast approaching. We know the unofficial start of it's coming up in the Combine, which is 2 weeks away for us.
So free agency starts in a month from yesterday.
Yes.
When I saw that, I almost lost my mind.
Yes, the NFL dominates the calendar. The way the Rams were built, the way they were assembled, we know this is a copycat league. But I don't think that's exactly the path for a lot of teams to take. And I'm interested to see what teams actually try to take it. Parting with first-round picks, taking your home run swings on players like Jalen Ramsey who have falling outs in Jacksonville. Players like Matthew Stafford who needs a new situation to try. Detroit's still a mess. I'm interested to see how many teams try that approach, thinking they have a couple core pieces and try to go all in.
Well, I mean, you saw how close they were to not getting it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know if that's the best way to build a roster.
No, I don't know either. And by the way, same thing for the Bengals. If the Bengals had won that game, there would have been this whole narrative that you can get by without an offensive line. And I would have hated that. Yesterday on the score, I compared the Bengals to the 2005 White Sox. A team that just caught lightning in a bottle. Every free agent they signed had a career year.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in the NFL. Now, I give them a lot of credit in some of the roster building, some of the drafts they've had over the last few years, but it's sort of the same thing. The White Sox had players on that team that they drafted, Joe Creedy, guys they brought in through their system, Juan Uribe, guys like that. They all go back and look at their career years. They were all 2005. And that's why I worry about the Bengals being a team that's regresses. I hate to be that guy that the day after the Super Bowl is very cliche, being Super Bowl hangover, here it comes for the Bengals. But and let me also be clear, I love Joe Burrow, and as long as Joe Burrow's their quarterback, they're going to be relevant. They're going to fight in the North. I'm not saying they're going to go 3-13 or 3-14 next year. I just don't know that they're going to be back in the Super Bowl so soon. And a lot of that is they got to fix their offensive line. They are so fortunate that they got that far. And in the end, you saw it bite them. Just like it bit the Chiefs last year in the Super Bowl. That was the difference in the game against the Bucs.
You can't expect to win when you give up 7 sacks. They should have gotten out of the divisional round, giving up 9. They're fortunate. They're playing a team in the Titans that Ryan Tannehill had a down year, wasn't ready for the playoffs. A.J. Brown's only a few backs from his return. Derrick Henry wasn't Derrick Henry in that game. It was like a perfect opponent for him. Like you said, like catching lightning in a bottle. Perfect opponent for him. Give up 9 sacks and still won. 7 sacks. You're not going to win that way.
Right.
You're just not. They were lucky it was that close because Matthew Stafford had very Matthew Stafford Lions-like moments. Still had those throws.
And getting back to the idea of like what this Rams thing. Kevin Clark from The Ringer had a really good piece on kind of like how much they really poured into this. And I don't even know, like you go all the way back to St. Louis. Like they move this team, they build that big ass stadium. Like the amount of money that was spent by Stan Kroenke to get this one ring is insane. And they almost didn't get it. I mean, they've been to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, lost. They don't make it back the following, was it 2 or 3, or 1 or 2 years in between there? I forget. But I think it was just 1. No, 2. It was 2. So it takes them 3 seasons just to get back to the Super Bowl. Then,
well, get rid of a quarterback who they paid handsomely.
Yeah. So they had already given up all his draft picks to get Jared Goff. Doesn't work out. They ship him out. Give up more draft capital just so that Jared Goff can go with them, right? To get this quarterback. That was no for sure thing. Like it's a cool story that it all worked out. And this whole season ended up being decided by that weekend in Cabo. But that Matt Nagy was at too.
Yeah, he was.
But like they almost blew it against the Bucs in the playoffs. They needed a really tough comeback against the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. And then they're losing to the Bengals. And I don't know if you saw, but Jalen Ramsey fell down on that last play, and Jamar Chase was open. And if they could have just blocked Aaron Donald, the Bengals are probably winning the Super Bowl.
Well, it's easier to say than done the way Donald was playing at that point, but yes.
I'm just saying how close it was for all that put into that Super Bowl that it almost didn't happen. And I don't know if they would have gotten back if they had lost that game because it was like all in for this year.
So here's the thing about the Rams. They do give up their first round picks. And like you hear Ryan Poles, got to build through the draft. You hear a lot of first-time GMs say that. And that's the general goal. You know, like, and you see the Rams do what they do. But the Rams, they kind of do build through the draft. Just look at the number of players they've drafted over the years. They trade back a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Rams do. They may not have the first-round picks. I'm looking at, they haven't had a first-round pick. Still going. Since 2016. You know where the last first-round pick was?
In 2016?
2016, come on.
So Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. That was their last first-round pick.
That's crazy. And it's like 2 or 3 more years before they have another one.
Yes. You know how many players they drafted this year? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You know? 9 players drafted in 2021. 2020, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2019, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a lot of players. And some of these players you'll recognize. Cam Akers, Van Jefferson, Taylor Rapp. Go back to 2018, Brian Allen, your starting center.
Yeah.
So there is a blend there, but
and that speaks
no first-round picks. Yeah,
that speaks to having picks. You know, wherever they are, having picks. And the reality is, the Bears are on the lower end of the amount of picks in the last. I forget what I saw the stats the other day. It was like the last 4 or 5 years.
It's not good. Yeah,
they're like towards the bottom. I think they're like third to last or something in the entire NFL. And when you look at who's the top, the gap is over 30. Like over 30 picks, like separates the bottom to the top. 30 players, that's a lot of players.
Yeah.
And like even if they're later round picks, you think, okay, 25 of those don't work out, but 5 do. Like you could potentially have 5 starters out of that you otherwise don't have, or you have to spend in free agency because you haven't made those picks. So that's a thing that's got to turn around here.
Like, what's the hit rate on first-round picks? Like 50-50 usually?
Yeah, if that.
Kind of later, even worse, the later you get in the first round. I still value first-round picks because I think I still like the 50-50 odds. Might as well take them. Those aren't bad odds in terms of draft selections if you really think about it. But the trade back approach later in the draft where you have more swings, potentially getting it right. The Rams just have a different approach than most teams, and I don't think it's not easily replicated because for some of the reasons you outlined by Stan Kroenke, there we go, situation. Like the all-in mentality, willing to eat millions and millions of dollars.
But I've always liked Les Snead, their GM, and he did a good job to build this team. And they got the ring. So it all paid off in the end. But I think the point is, I think we're in agreement that is not necessarily the best way to go about it. And it would have been disastrous if they had not won that game because we'd probably be using that example as like the way of not doing it.
Well, it just goes all back to the quarterback position too.
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to be in Cabo this year. There's no Matthew Stafford to pursue. There just isn't.
Well, let me ask you a question though. If you're Russell Wilson,
you go to Cabo?
You already played the game. I mean, yeah. Is he in Cabo right now? Who's in Cabo right now? You already played the game last year. Like you dipped your toe in the water about a potential trade. They wouldn't do it. If you're looking at Matt Stafford and you see how that ended up playing out, I mean, do you force it a little bit more this year?
So that's the big fish. So which team is that? Is it the Colts
that would go after him?
Like the Colts strike me as that we think we're ready in a lot of different places. We think we're close in a lot of different places on our roster.
Yeah.
But obviously we're lacking in quarterback. And there's already a report from Chris Mortensen that the Colts are either going to release or trade. I don't know who's going to trade for him.
Carson Wentz.
But they're going to move on from Carson Wentz. And Carson Wentz was one of the big fishes last year.
And by the way, credit the Bears for doing their due diligence on that and getting out. They decided it wasn't for him. That turned out to be a good move. I don't know if signing Andy Dalton was better, but
you got Justin Fields.
Well, yeah, he ended up with Justin Fields. Yeah, I think the Colts seem like a team that would go after. I mean, you look at the quarterback need. The Pittsburgh needs a new team quarterback. Washington, there's already been talks about Washington going out and making a big move at quarterback.
I'd consider the Giants. I don't care what they said about Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I don't believe Brian.
I don't believe any of that crap.
I'm with you on that one. And if they do feel that way about him, I think that they need to. Then they made wrong hires.
Yeah.
And they made a mistake.
You know who's going to get a big deal this offseason? Here's my prediction. Our old friend Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah. What's your definition of big deal, though?
Oh, okay.
Didn't he get $5 million though last year just to be their backup?
No, he got less than that.
Oh, okay, I made that up.
Yeah. 2 years, $14 million. Maybe guarantee him 10.
That's low quarterback money though.
Teams get desperate though. Teams get desperate.
But to your point, like that's backup quarterback money, and so he could get more than that if somebody really believes in him. Like whoever. I don't know what's going to happen here, but like if Russell Wilson is available, like Mitch Trubisky is going to go to the team that loses out.
Yeah.
In whatever quarterback derby exists this offseason.
What did Brandon Beane say? What did he say exactly? Brandon Beane's the GM of the Buffalo Bills, where they would love Mitch Trubisky to return, but they already know there's no way. No way. I mean, that is... I think there's a lot of listeners right now or YouTube watchers rolling their eyes, but it's the truth of the quarterback market.
Yeah.
It just really is. Mitch Trubisky is going to be one of the biggest names in it. Young guy with upside.
I was almost surprised that last year he had to settle for a backup spot right away. I mean, in hindsight, it makes sense, but I don't think there's any doubt this year he's going to get that opportunity to at least compete for a starting job.
I think the conversation has changed about him.
Yeah.
after what just played out here in Chicago again for another season.
Yeah, just that
he's not the problem. He wasn't the problem. He may have been part of the problem, but he wasn't all of the problem.
Yeah, I don't know that he's 100% the solution, though. But I think you learned enough this year that you could say, and you're going to have he's probably going to get a good vote of confidence from Buffalo. You know, when those people have those types of behind-the-scenes conversations they do at the Combine, right? And that's going to carry some weight. And, yeah, he's probably going to get an opportunity. And I think he deserves it. And I look forward to watching that, quite frankly, and seeing if he can take advantage of it. He certainly wasn't the only problem. That we learned in 2021, for sure. For sure.
I do think that this loss for the Bengals is strongly going to drive the offensive lineman market this year. So if you're a Bears fan, if you're Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus, outlining your targets already, preparing yourself for these conversations at the Combine, the 7 sacks that Joe Burrow took, Jamar Chase running wide open, and Burrow being thrown to the ground by Aaron Donald, that is going to influence their decisions like you wouldn't believe. You know who's got the fourth most cap space heading into this offseason? Cincinnati Bengals.
They have the fourth most?
Fourth most.
Yeah. Well, then that probably goes against my regression argument a little bit, because they can at least address those.
They could try to buy their way out of trouble. That doesn't always work, though. Like you said, though. They hit home runs in their free agency signings last year. Trey Hendrickson, great signing.
Well, yeah, but like when guys like Mike Hilton and Chidobe Awuzie, like guys like that, like really pay. Even Eli Apple to a certain extent. Like he had a bad Super Bowl, but he's made some plays, and that dude has been unreliable in the NFL.
Can we talk about that for a second? Why does everybody hate him? I didn't know this hate was like tenfold. Well, is he like a big time trash talker amongst like?
He's pissed a lot of people off. Like there's a reason why he went from New York, right? The Giants ended up with him after the Bears leapfrogged them for Leonard Floyd.
Yes, that is correct.
And then he wore out his welcome there. He went down to New Orleans, I think, and wore out his welcome there. I just don't think he has a great reputation.
So he just pisses people off wherever he goes, teammates.
Yeah, opposition. I don't know the guy, so I don't want to like sit here and run the bus over him. But and Kent, our producer, says he went to Carolina too in there. So there's a reason why he's bouncing around the league.
I mean, there are a lot of guys firing on him on social media.
Yeah, he's not a very popular player.
Yeah,
he's one of those guys that when he starts struggling, there's not a whole lot of people holding back.
Time to dunk on him. Time to fire up those tweets.
Yeah.
Clients demand an instant response, but now more than ever, businesses are spread thin. If you're losing leads from visitors to your website or missing calls that could grow your business, you need to delegate those frontline conversations to the best virtual receptionist service, Smith AI. Smith AI provides businesses with award-winning virtual receptionists who handle your calls, chats, and texts to unlock new business at a fraction of the cost of hiring in-house staff. Smith AI is not your average receptionist service. Work uninterrupted, run your business with less stress, and get more leads from your marketing efforts. Smith AI pays for itself and then some. With all new clients, the receptionists help you win. Never miss another lead. Boost revenue, increase your focus at work, and keep your staffing costs down. It's as simple as forwarding your calls to Smith AI. Plans start at just $240 a month. And our listeners will save $100 when you sign up using our promo code ADAM at smith.ai. Visit smith.ai to lead 5-star reviews and be sure to use our code ADAM. That's ADAM to save $100 at sign up. Don't let another day go by. Try Smith AI. It's a new year, but it's feeling harder than ever to find and hire the qualified people you need, especially for small businesses. That's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in. They make it easier to find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of only the most qualified. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. That's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week nearly 40 million jobs job seekers, visit LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Adam. That's linkedin.com/Adam to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Our next partner of the Hoge Jahns podcast is a really cool product. Let's talk about Athletic Greens. If you're looking to get better gut health, more energy, or a stronger immune system in a really easy, natural way, you've got to check out Athletic Greens. And I'm sure you'll all agree that most of us are not huge fans of having to take a bunch of pills or vitamins in the morning. But with Athletic Greens, you can get rid of all those extra vitamin bottles and finally make some room in your cabinet. Athletic Greens is an all-in-one solution that actually tastes good. You'll really enjoy getting your daily vitamins. So what is this stuff? Well, with one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging, all those things. Just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Adams. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Adams to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Hey, is your company or business having a tough time hiring the people you need? Doesn't matter what you're doing. It could be a coffee shop, retail, corporate. If you can't keep up with hiring, Workable helps all types of companies. There are 46% more jobs being posted than before the pandemic, and there are 44% fewer candidates applying to each one. So you need to find the right candidates and hire them fast, and Workable can help. Workable accelerates every step of your hiring process from finding to hiring. Workable helps you cast the widest net possible by posting your jobs to all the top job boards, more than 200 total with just one click. Whether you're hiring for your coffee shop or your engineering team, Workable is exactly what you need to hire the right people fast. Start hiring today with a risk-free 15-day trial. If you hire during that trial, which many do, it won't cost a thing. Just go to workable.com to start hiring. Workable is hiring made easy. What'd you think about the halftime show?
High school Adam. Freshman, sophomore year Adam.
Yeah.
Love that show. Absolutely love that show.
Yeah, it was great.
I wanted more from Eminem, but like the songs I predicted they would play, you knew you were going to hear California Love, of course. Still DRE, still Dre, whatever you want to call it. It's one of my favorite rap songs. So I was happy to hear that at the end.
My biggest regret was that I did not put a prop bet on you, because you could have bet on the first song, and I was convinced it was going to be next episode, and it was.
Yeah,
and I
didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. I thought they'd open up with Still Dre.
Yeah, I thought that too, because they use that song so much for the promo and in the trailer and everything, but it just seemed too obvious.
I love that song.
And then when you actually listen to the start of the next episode with Snoop coming in, it's just like. It seemed like a good opening song. Now, I wish I'd put my money on that.
50 Cent wasn't. Did I miss him on the listing?
No, that was a surprise.
A surprise, right?
And the only thing is, it all of a sudden created a brief letdown for me, because I was all of a sudden when 50 Cent showed up, I'm like, oh, who else is going to show up?
Yeah,
like there might be some more surprises in here, and then there weren't anymore, and I was like, but we were. Like, especially you and me, and I think probably a big part of our demographic that listens to this podcast, I'm guessing, the target demo, not only for that halftime show, but for the Super Bowl. Did you see some of those ads? Like, they went Austin Powers and Scrubs. Scrubs! Back to back. There's a Sopranos commercial in there. Like, they were trying to hit us sentimentally.
Our age. What age range would you give that?
Damn it worked.
37 to 44.
I think
35 to 45.
35 to 45. If we want to broaden it out a little, like I think especially like between 35 and 41, 42 though, you're in a sweet spot where you can appreciate the early 90s stuff that popped up in the halftime show, but also still connect with Kendrick Lamar on the back end, right? Because like I was the neighbors I was with, a little bit older than me, like 41, 42, I think. Or no, he just turned 40. Like was really into the early part of that halftime show, but then like he didn't even know what Kendrick Lamar was. You know what I mean? So like there's a sweet spot in there. And I'm not saying this is not a broad statement. Everybody has their own taste in music and connects to different things. I think right where we kind of are in that 35 to 40 range, like was the sweet spot for that halftime show. Because you could hit the early stuff and appreciate the late stuff too.
And Eminem's a household name. Dr. Dre's a household name. Everybody knows who Snoop Dogg is.
But Snoop is to the point that there's definitely a younger generation that just knows Snoop from like being on TV and in movies and stuff rather than his music.
True. I woke up that next morning and Dr. Dre was the first song I listened to as I got in the shower.
I'm going to tweet out today. Be honest, how many times have you watched the halftime show? I've watched it twice.
Only twice.
Yeah. It was good. It was good.
Like I would. The second song by Mary J. Blige, maybe a little bit more Dr. Dre, maybe a little bit more Eminem.
Yeah, the Eminem thing was a little short.
That's my only critique. Like, they made you wait for Eminem, which is fine. But the open was great. I thought that second song by Mary J. Blige slowed things down when you get all these hits, like all these songs that everybody knows by the other guys.
And even the Kendrick Lamar thing, I think, could have been a touch shorter. But I didn't mind it. I'll give it an A overall. Not A plus, A. Really good.
Yeah. Although that 50 Cent surprise. Again,
just dropped from the ceiling. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Blood rushing to his head. Freshman year college Adam, loved that.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge song that year. Like I can vividly remember that song played a lot my freshman year of college.
What was your favorite ad?
It was the Austin Powers one.
Yeah. I don't know if it was my top one. I did like that one. I actually really like that NFL commercial that dropped right before the halftime show with all those figurines.
Is that the one where Peyton was in?
Yeah. Yeah, Walter Payton showed up. Peyton Manning was in there too. Where Walter scores the touchdown. Yeah.
And Peyton Manning was like in every other commercial. I felt like
it was all the figurines, and it was like long, and it hit a. I don't know. It was just like I like that one. I thought it was a cool
the Chicagoan in us.
Yeah,
I know the Super Bowl party I was at. They got a big reaction when Peyton did his tumble into the end zone. Something sentimental.
That was the best. Super Bowl moment the Bears have had since Devin Hester's kick return.
Yeah. You want to talk about that for a second?
Oh, we should, because I guess we did our pod before the Hester.
It's a bunch of crap, Adam.
Well, it is. But I guess in hindsight, I'm not surprised. I mean, there's no question he should get in my opinion, he's deserving of being a first ballot Hall of Famer. But once it happened, and I was at the Hall of Fame press conference, we went out there. We're actually in the new NFL offices, which are right across the street from SoFi Stadium. That's where they held the press conference. As soon as it happened, and I heard that he wasn't getting in, I was like, and then you saw the guys who did get in. I was like, okay, this was a cleanup. It was a cleanup year.
Yeah, but like,
I'm not saying that's right. I'm like, I should have seen that coming, actually.
I don't like ripping fellow reporters. And I'm sure Dan Pompei did a fantastic job promoting him. But if you've covered the NFL for a long time, like, you just know, like, I get that he was a specialist. I get that he sucked as a wide receiver. I get that, like, he was on the field for 10, 12 plays a game, if that.
Yeah.
But he changed the freaking game.
Yeah. Well, And I made this argument last week. I still believe it. Like he still had a huge impact on the offense.
Yes.
If you just want to single out his receiving numbers, then I just think that's so short-sighted. He was such a good returner that he basically gave the Bears an explosive play to start every single drive on offense.
You have to go back and read this piece that Dan Pompei and Mike Sando wrote on Hester. This was a couple months ago, and they were all in on Hester getting in. This is what I strongly believe. But they did such a deep piece on how he affected rosters. Mm-hmm. Like teams in the NFC North, when they fill out the back end of their roster, 40 to 53, they did it specifically to stop Devin Hester. The back end of your roster is your specialists, guys that are backups and have to play in special teams. They targeted certain players that had the speed, they had the tackling ability to play in special teams because Devin Hester was in their division.
Mm-hmm.
He changed how they did business. Like certain free agents were targeted for their prowess in special teams because Devin Hester was in their division. Check it out. I thought that was a strong statement by them. I hope everybody read it. All the voters read it, but he struck me as a player who deserved serious consideration for first ballot Hall of Fame. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
Because of just how special he was.
It's just such a short-sighted thing to hold the specialist thing against him because any football coach you talk to will tell you how much that changes a game and your weekly preparation when you have a specialist on the other side that you know you have to stop. Because every coach believes in field position. The numbers back that up and how important that is. And so it's not even just about not giving up a huge game-changing return, which kills you if you give that up. It's about the field position. You play at a disadvantage the entire game, whether you kick the ball to the returner or not. Because if you don't kick it to him, you're giving up field position that way. And it's hurting your ability to win. It's an automatic advantage you're getting. And to have that type of impact every single game, just by having your presence, literally walking onto the field, being active. Though, to me, like that's one of the best ways to describe a Hall of Famer. Like that's what Aaron Donald is. Aaron Donald's on the other side, you're an offensive coach, you're screwed. Like that's your week. Your whole game plan is like, we got to stop that guy. And it's the first snap to the last snap, as you saw on Sunday in the Super Bowl. You know, that, and then for the Rams, they had that advantage. And so players like that have that big of an impact, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams, I don't know how that's not an automatic Hall of Famer.
If you know, you know. And I don't like the argument, well, he's eventually going to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's some players you just look at, and he's a Hall of Famer. Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Famer. Now, these could be bad analogies because quarterback is a little bit different, but, like, you just know. You just know. When you watch Devin Hester's career, you just knew. This guy belonged in the Hall of Fame. Why make him wait? I don't know. Maybe it is a cleanup year. Maybe some of the voters see a special distinction in guys being first ballot Hall of Famers, and making them wait a year is part of the process. But when you saw the class, like part of the frustration was seeing the class.
Yeah. Because
you know Devin Hester's a Hall of Famer, and all those guys had to be argued in for years.
Exactly. And so this gets into a deeper Hall of Fame discussion, because I think it's easy to be like, well, that's not how the Hall of Fame should work. Like, you're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. But I do think that over the long term, the NFL system does work.
It's better than baseball's.
Exactly. Like, the way baseball works, where you're allowed to vote up to 10 guys, I know there's a lot of politics in it with historical stuff with steroids and things like that, but it's just the NFL system is better. And I do think that whether it takes, look at how long Jimbo Covert had to wait to get in, but he's a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean?
Hampton had to wait. Denton had to wait.
So you can argue and certainly make an obvious case, like especially Dan Hampton. Dan Hampton or Richard Dent should not have waited as long as they had to wait to get in the Hall of Fame. But they did get in. Like, in the end, they got it right. And I don't think that that's really happening in baseball a lot. Like, there's some big problems.
There's going to be a whole era left out of the conversation there forever. Unless I don't know how the conversation changes on that.
And I don't know that anyone that got in on this class, you'd say, oh, they didn't deserve it. It's just I don't know that they deserved it as much as Devin Hester. So if Hester has to wait a year,
that's my complaint about this year. Like, Sam Mills could have waited another year.
Yeah. But actually, that's the thing. He couldn't. I think he was in the last year of his eligibility.
Was he? Okay.
And that's why he got in.
Probably, yeah, I didn't know that. So that could probably be it.
And I think that's the other side. This is why this stuff's always tricky, and this is why Hall of Fame debates are both fun and infuriating and annoying a lot. If a guy waits, does he deserve to get in just because it's his last year of eligibility? Why didn't he get in all these other years? Yeah, I don't really have a good counter to that. It's a fair point. But I don't know. Devin will get in. He will get in, but it was disappointing that it didn't happen last week, for sure.
I don't know who's eligible for the first time next year.
I don't know. I haven't gone that far into it. I got to get into the NFL draft and free agency first before I worry about next year's Hall of Fame class.
Yes, you do.
Bears mock draft 1.0 coming out later today, by the way.
Ooh. You doing the full?
Oh yeah. It always comes out the Tuesday after the Super Bowl.
They start with the 39th pick, 37th pick.
I have to say, I know they only added 1 week to the season. It feels like a month. Maybe that's just because we had a big coaching and GM search, but I cannot believe it's already February 15th.
Yeah.
And the combine's in 2 weeks and free agency's in a month. It's just insane.
Well, I'll say this. Coaching surges. They feel like they take forever because they're long days. But in reality, they're only a couple weeks. Unless you're the Texans. And you just make this up as you go.
Then you hire Lovie Smith.
And then you hire Lovie Smith. You have, it feels like a long time, but it's only a couple weeks. But it's exhausting. At least covering it. Heck, tracking.
Hey, Lovie, how you doing? Hey, Lovie! Hey, Lovie! How's everybody doing?
Lovey.
I like it. You got to cut out how everybody's doing and just have like an evil laugh.
The evil Lovey laugh. Was it Vaughn McClure that had that the great Vaughn McClure? Didn't he have a thing on Sports Talk Live once where he was yelling at somebody? He was like, "Say I love you, Lovey. Say Lovey, I love you, Lovey." There's like an old clip.
Yeah.
They were arguing. It may have been the Cap. I forget. I think it was Vaughn McClure.
It was Vaughn.
Yeah. That's awesome. How about Sean McVay might just go off into the TV?
Is that for real?
There's a lot of smoke this morning as we're recording this about that happening. The reality is it seems like, if you read between the tea leaves, it seems like there is a network out there that is willing to offer him $20 million a year.
Come on.
Which is just insane. These TV deals.
He's what, 37 years old right now?
He's 36. And yeah, he's 36 right now.
So what does he do? Takes the Gruden path?
Well, you think the Rams are going to offer him $20 million a year? Like, look, here's the thing. That doesn't count against the salary cap. You're spending $5 billion on a stadium. I'd probably spend $20 million a year to keep Sean McVay around if I'm Stan Kroenke. But, like, let's say all things are equal. $20 million to go do TV, $20 million to coach. Now, you got to understand, these coaches are very, very passionate about coaching. They love it, as stressful as it is. But
there's a level of burnout, yeah.
By the way, these TV gigs are harder than they look, first of all. But it's not the same level of grind as coaching. every single day for how many weeks of the year? Waking up at 4 a.m., going to bed at 10, 11 o'clock.
And if he wants to come back in 5 or 6 years, he can. And everybody will line up to go get him.
That's the thing. It's going to be like John Gruden. He's going to have offers every year.
Younger John Gruden.
Yeah.
He could sit out for 10 years and return at 46 years old. How old's Matt Eberflus? Like 51?
Yeah, he's 51.
Think about that.
Yeah, I know. He would still be one of the younger coaches in the league if he spent 5 years doing TV.
Yes.
Yeah.
He could do 10 years of TV.
So when you say, is this real? I could see it being real. I could see it being real. I don't know.
That'll shift the power.
Right? It almost worries me. Like we've seen the impact it's had. We've seen the impact it's had on officiating with these good officials leaving for TV jobs that pay more. There's a lot of good coaches in the league, but there's also not many of the top tier ones. There's 9 coaches getting fired this year. Well, 8, and then 1 stepped away. I just worry about how going down that road, what it would mean. But Sean McVay would be great on TV.
He's great when he's mic'd up.
I'd enjoy it. Yeah. There's a good NFL Films thing on the last few plays of the Super Bowl if you check it out on Twitter. All right, we should get out of here. Any other final thoughts?
You know the answer to that.
I am wearing a United States curling sweatshirt.
USA.
Tough morning for Team USA. John Schuster. Bad loss to Italy. I didn't think that the Italians would be causing me this much stress during the Olympics, but they are kicking the USA's butt in curling, both the mixed doubles, and they're not even good in the team game, but they won today. Bad loss for the U.S. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs now.
Isn't this something you should be texting Kevin Fishbane about and not boring our listeners?
Oh, Kevin. If anybody would like curling text, Kevin is turned in worse than me. Not that I ever have anybody to actually text about curling, and now I finally do, but it's like, it's nonstop.
I also think people have to realize that Kevin is a prolific texter.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Prolific texter.
He's the guy that if you don't get a response in 5 minutes, you start to worry if he's dead.
Yeah.
Like,
he's on his phone?
Like, you follow up 5 minutes after that, just be like, you sure you're okay?
You okay?
You all right?
You good, bro?
Nah, that's Kevin Fishbane. Who, I think, turned down doing this podcast for like the 3rd straight time. I don't know what's going on there. He's on vacation.
It's now noted.
Yeah, but it's starting to become a thing, and I'm worried about it. So, if you want to start going after him on Twitter, saying, hey, at least come on and do a curling segment, something, we'd appreciate it. Please find our gear on obviousshirts.com. I'm wearing the hat today. These are awesome. Check them out, obviousshirts.com. Kent, our guy Kent, was rocking it on Radio Row all last week.
Love it.
It was fantastic. I felt dumb because I didn't even bring mine. But Kent had his going on at the Super Bowl in Los Angeles, and we appreciate that. Did a great job. By the way, The Athletic did a great job at Super Bowl last week, too, and Kent was just pumping out podcasts left and right. Robert Mays, Nate Tice, the whole crew. A lot of good stuff. Go back and listen to it. And you can read all the coverage at theathletic.com/Hoge Jahns. My stuff is up at NBCSportsChicago.com. Later today, Bears Mock Draft 1.0 coming out. And we'll be back Thursday with some more stuff. And then I'm going on vacation, I promise.
Not too long.
All right, we'll talk to you later next week.
See ya.
Ready for the next episode. Hey.
Anyway, who cares?